I've climbed the Great Pyramid 5 times.
What?
And 2 of those climbs were legal. I found, Santha and I together found at the top of the Great Pyramid on the south side overlooking what used to be the Boat Museum. On one step down from the top, we found the name P, initial P, Hancock, 5th of April, 1916. Well, my grandfather was Philip Hancock.
No.
Yes, and he was in Egypt. He was in Egypt during the First World War.
Are you serious?
But I still couldn't be 100% sure it was him. And at that time, my dad was still alive, and he had my grandfather's diaries, which were little things, little diaries, dozens of them. And I went through to the date given, and I opened that page, and I saw just one line, and it said, "Climbed Great Pyramid today."
No way. God, that's crazy.
A German tourist says he illegally scaled Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza in broad daylight and lived to tell the tale. Armed with a GoPro and a strong will, 18-year-old Andrei Soshelski journeyed from Cairo to Giza to climb nearly 500 feet to the top of the pyramid. Climbing the oldest and largest pyramid comes at a steep cost, a possible 3-year jail sentence if convicted. Yeah. Andre said in an interview he knew the risks going in, but decided the view from the top would make it all worth it. When he was about halfway up the ancient structure, Andre was spotted by Egyptian police, but it didn't stop him from finishing his climb and taking in the incredible view. Although it took him 8 minutes to reach the top, it took him 20 minutes to safely descend. When he was back on the ground, he was taken into police custody. According to Andre, officers said they would not press charges if he deleted photographic evidence of the climb. He says authorities were unaware that the tech-savvy team had software that allowed him to recover the file.
Evolution is a slippery word. When someone says, "Do you believe in evolution?" I say, "What do you mean?" It's got 6 different meanings. First would have to be cosmic evolution, the Big Bang. Where did time, space, and matter come from? Then you have to get chemical evolution. There's 92 naturally occurring elements. How do you get gold, silver, and platinum out of hydrogen gas? Then you got to have stars evolving, stellar evolution. Nobody has ever seen a star form. Then you have to have organic evolution. Life has to somehow come from non-living matter. Then you have to have macroevolution, where an animal changes from one kind into another. Nobody's ever seen these first 5. The Earth formed 4.5 billion years ago, and then this first life form that came out of the soup had to somehow transform itself into everything else today. So that little amoeba, single-celled creature, turned into a whale and a giraffe and a pine tree and everything. Look, you guys can believe what you want, but don't call that science. Evolution is not part of science. It's a religious belief.
These miners found something that could change the history books. This is the story of the Tisol Princess, and it might just make you question everything you know. It all started in 1969 when some miners near the village of Tisolsky, Siberia, were looking for and shipped it to a scientist for study. And shortly afterwards, all of the miners who were present during the find all died under mysterious circumstances, and the KGB buried the story for decades until it came back to light in 2002. And now there's even a monument about the Tisol Princess near the mine where she was allegedly found. And according to the story, the scientist couldn't determine what the pink liquid was. He also found that the woman shared our DNA, so she was human, but he thought likely from some highly advanced, lost ancient civilization and that her existence called into question the history of humanity and the earth itself. And the craziest thing about all of this is that he believed that based on the geological layer that the sarcophagus was found in, the woman could have been anywhere from 100 to 800 million years old.
This isn't like some mystery movie or Goldfinger or James Bond. This is really going on. This is wild. This is historic.
Starts with gold, and I've been following the comics. There's something going on with gold and nobody really knows what it is. Somebody here in the United States is buying a crap load of gold. Somebody is taking huge physical deliveries, and it's causing shortages in London, where they buy and sell gold. There's shortages now of gold because somebody is buying it and shipping it here. Somebody with very deep pockets. Okay, so why? Now this is all theory. That's fact. Here's the theory of what's going on. They're preparing for a full-on gold audit. We talked about this yesterday. The government right now claims on its balance sheet as an asset all of this gold, and it's valued at $45 an ounce. In case you haven't heard, it's $2,900 an ounce. So they're talking now about boosting the price of gold, at least market to market, but maybe even making it $5,000 an ounce, okay? If that happens, the balance sheet starts to fall into line and our debt to GDP is not as bad as it really is.
The first conspiracy I ever remember hearing, how when Nixon got us off the gold standard, he had been told that the gold had been shipped to Europe. It's official. Senator Rand Paul says a criminal investigation is being launched by DOJ into the missing gold, not just at Fort Knox, but other Treasury Department vaults in New York and other areas. That's why they've been shipping it back as fast as they can the last 5 weeks ahead of Trump getting inaugurated. We've literally caught them with their pants down in the crime of the century. This will further completely devastate the deep state and legitimize, supercharge the already completely constitutionally legitimate actions of Trump, investigating these federal agencies and finding massive fraud everywhere that doesn't just save the country money, it will also bring down the deep state for the crimes they have committed. This is so historic and so critical.
They are giving us the wrong dates. We used to have 13 months in a year, 28 days in a month, and 1 day of rest, resurrection. This was even mentioned in the Bible. We have 13 lunar cycles, and each cycle being 28 days. The ocean's tides are 28 days. Women's periods are also 28 days. And then we have 13 zodiac signs, not the exoteric 12. Many ancient cultures use this 13-month calendar system. For example, the Native Americans used a turtle as their timekeeper. See, in every turtle shell you'll see 13 sections in the middle for each of the months, and then 28 sections for each of the lunar days along the rim. See, the New Year's really starts in spring, keeping us fools on April 1st as they disconnect us through our natural cycles.
Our calendar is not quite right. We're supposed to have 13 months of 28 days. With one day, the day of resurrection, Easter, as a neutral day. That's our 365 days. We've actually got 13 constellations, not 12. This same calendar is very close to the Mayan calendar, but it's also very close to several ancient Sanskrit calendars. What does sept mean? 7. I thought that was the 9th month. What does oct mean? What does node mean? What does dec mean? It's supposed to be the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th month. Jan is 11. Feb is 12. March is 13. April is our first month. Babies are born in the spring, the 1st of April, Easter. This is the start of our new year. This is the start of spring, when the flowers start coming up, the grass starts coming up, the trees start leafing out, the babies are born. That's the first day. Our neutral day, day 1. The day we rest and celebrate the resurrection, the new beginning, the beginning of Christ. April is month 1. And then we lost a month in there. Where is it?
Method Man said this 30 years ago. Now look where we are.
We in the last times and days right now. The Illuminati's in effect. See, the Illuminati ain't nothing but like it's gonna be a second Great Depression out here in America. Except this time, corporate America's prepared themselves for it. Meaning when it hits, their money is gonna be safe. As far as the rest of us that don't own our own businesses and things of that nature, so we're gonna be killing each other in the streets, man. Mad Max and Beyond Terror Dome and all that is gonna be on, man. And they're gonna have to blow us up, which is what they're gonna do. They're gonna inject us with these, they're gonna say it's like for everybody mandatory AIDS testing because AIDS is so widespread. They're gonna be giving them vaccines for it so they don't catch it off top like measles, mumps and stuff like that. But in all actuality, what they're doing is putting microchips in and your babies so they can keep tabs on where you're at. That's deep. That's deep. They're not even using money anymore as far as paper. It's gonna be cards to show what status you are, how financially well off you are, or whatever. You know, what do you own, and it'll tell everything about you. Welfare, gone. They just going, funds for schooling, gone.
Free energy. This guy, his name's Maxwell Chikumbutsu, but he's from Zimbabwe. He has created a generator that does not use any power source. So this generator basically creates free energy using frequencies from the atmosphere, and this one generator can power 300 homes. These two scientist guys went out there to test it and stuff, and they're like, yeah, it's legit. And they're like, how did you know how to build this? And he says that when he sleeps, he gets revelations and visions from God of how to create these things. He says, this is how he told me to make it, and he made it. But this dude, he's has a target on his back.
Yeah, for real.
So he's been in prison in Zimbabwe multiple times for just different things that
You're too smart.
He came to the US at one point and he was poisoned and almost died and then fled back to Zimbabwe. He cannot get any of his patents patented because the patent, in the description, says that if it defies physics, it cannot be patented.
Were there actually updates in physics, maybe mid-century, that were not disclosed to the public?
We had meetings in DC in May. They literally said, well, during the Cold War, we classified entire areas of physics and took them out of the research community. Entire branches of physics basically went dark and didn't proceed. And that if we decide we need to, we're going to do the same thing to the math underneath AI.
Another puzzle we would love to have cleared up, the role of aerospace companies as holders of potentially basic scientific knowledge not shared with the academic world. Is it possible?
It's true.
You believe it's true?
Yeah, I know it's true.
That would be this crazy, egregious
It would change our entire concept of who we are if somebody kept fundamental physics secret in the years since we became capable of exploding fusion devices.
Right.
I would grab a pitchfork and a tiki torch, and I would march on the National Science Foundation.
You're involved with exoskeletons, correct?
Last night, I ran a sub 8 mile in an exoskeleton. If I'm able to just put on an exoskeleton and run a 7-minute mile, imagine what that could do on a Navy SEAL. That is where the Navy SEAL is going to be in just a few years. I think it's going to be hard for robots to compete with that guy.
How does the exoskeleton work?
Different exoskeletons work in different ways. This particular one basically is sensing your motion based on your actual motion. It actually has an onboard AI algorithm that is trying to predict what you're doing, and then it applies force that matches. And then the crazy thing is eventually, someday, and I think this is way out just for a variety of basically invasive surgical reasons, eventually you'll be able to read those signals right from the brain directly. Imagine a world where you're wearing an exoskeleton where the moment your brain is telling your arm to move, the exoskeleton starts moving your arm. You could potentially make someone who's literally 10 times faster at moving or reacting. That's going to be the Navy SEAL of the future. And that guy is going to be a beast.
Holy shit.
I built a device many years ago. I've screwed around with it a lot of times. It basically is a small sensor that you can mount that is able to tell when you are flexing muscles on your face. And I hooked that up to another electrical actuator. You ever use a TENS unit? It's a lot like a TENS unit. And I made it so that whenever I barely start to flex a muscle up here in my face, it sends a signal wirelessly to a patch I have on my arm that fully fires this
tendon and makes me pull my trigger finger.
Oh my goodness, this is one of the wildest things I have seen, and this is not your average robot. This is the Clone Alpha by Clone Robotics, and this contains all 206 bones that the human body contains, and they are fully articulated with artificial ligaments and connective tissues. Now, they're very high on the hand function of these robots. I'm going to show you the raw clip in a second, but just listen to this. The hand functions with human-level thumbs, surgical precision, a trigger finger, and it is compatible with human tools. And it's not going to walk like other robots. It says, finally, a robot that walks naturally. And it says, do it once and the clone will do it forever. They have a telekinesis training platform. I don't even know how that's possible. This technology is absolutely insane. I guess you can reserve one of these things this year in 2025, but just check out the raw clip and the music that they used.